President Donald Trump has been deplatformed from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Twitch. Kind of. We're going to go over all that and more in today's episode. It's going to be a crazy one. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to Shadow Ban with Bobby. I'm your host, Bobby, and this is the YouTube channel where we talk about everything social media censorship. Now, I'm not going to be giving political opinions. I'm not going to be talking about the left. I'm not going to be talking about the right. However, it does play a small part, so I am going to share some other people's opinions, and I'm going to be talking about the technicality of what a ban on social media looks like for a president, and specifically under the new guidelines that social media platforms have set under this new precedent of inciting violence. What exactly does that mean? How exactly do they plan to enact a ban, a block, a shadow ban, whatever it may be on people who incite violence? It's going to be really interesting. So literally as I'm editing this video, Twitter went from banning to shadow banning to hard blocking to completely deplatforming to bringing him back to deplatforming Donald Trump again. And as of right now, Donald Trump has been completely banned, deplatformed from Twitter. Many people are expecting other social medias to follow. Now this video, everything that applies in this video, we talk specifically about this, about deplatforming, so everything still applies. However, in this video, the context is Donald Trump has just been severely blocked and has a ban for multiple days. Now it is a straight up deplatforming. Crazy. But we can't get into any of that without talking about what actually happened and how did this all start. And I'm not the one to tell you, so I'm gonna let TikTok tell you.
Everything goes
All right, I'm sorry. I had to let TikTok explain it. Let's get into what's actually happening as a result of all of that craziness. But before we start, please like and subscribe, because who knows, we could be shadow banned next. And I'm trying to do a video every day. There's something new, someone new being shadow banned, whether it's an influencer or celebrity or a music artist or a politician. So there's a lot to keep up with. All right, let's get into it. What's happening? So as a result of all of this madness, Facebook has determined that they will block President Trump on its platforms, including Instagram, at least until the end of his term, Mark Zuckerberg said Thursday. Now, mixed opinions have been had about this action that Facebook has taken. And honestly, I want to say very little of it is positive. Now, the people who are pro-censorship and believe that Donald Trump shouldn't have a platform because he incites violence believe that they did a good job. However, they think it's too little too late, and it's a gesture, essentially, what they're doing. They think they should have blocked him months ago, but they didn't have the cojones to do so. Now, on the other side, people feel that they're taking it too far and they're limiting freedom of speech. Both are valid opinions, and we're going to discuss both, and I'll give my opinion at the end. Now, here's the story. Facebook bans President Trump for posting the rest of his presidency. And there is a photo of the Lizard King himself, Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook said Thursday it's banning President Trump until the end of his presidency and possibly longer. It's the most forceful action a social network has taken against Trump, who has spent months using social media to amplify disinformation and cast doubt on his loss in the presidential election. People are reacting. They're saying that Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook just deplatformed the president of the United States. Let that sink in for a second. And Mark Zuckerberg, he wrote out this whole thing himself, supposedly himself. In the shocking events of the last 24 hours, clearly demonstrate that the president intends to use his remaining time in office to undermine the peaceful and lawful transition of power to his elected successor, Joe Biden. Now, even Twitch has come in and they have suspended their account indefinitely. And at this point, it starts to feel like a PR pile-on, like every social media company is just stepping out of the woodwork and saying, we're banning you too. And, Trump and their people are like, who? We have a Twitch account? Next thing you know, they're going to ban Trump on TikTok, or imagine TikTok being the only platform left where Trump can communicate with the people and he has to do TikTok dances and renegades and spit his takes to everybody. So every platform seems to be taking a stance on this. Now, it's confusing because later Twitter revoked the ban to let Donald Trump post this video, which is essentially him conceding the election and kind of acting against violence. So why exactly did Twitter allow Donald Trump to return? Was there some communication between the CEO of Twitter, Jack, and Donald Trump? Did they get together and apologize? I don't know exactly how they worked things out. Remember, he had a real hard block on Twitter, meaning he couldn't post. So obviously, to post this video, he must have had communication with someone on Twitter, which shows just how special and complicated this issue is. When we're talking about social media censorship on this channel, we're usually talking in the broad spectrum. Influencers who have been shadow banned because they post nudity, or, someone speaking about a certain keyword that gets them marked as spam. This is a real special case, and it's honestly why I have such a hard time articulating my thoughts on it, because this could be something that's one-off, or it could be something that affects hundreds and maybe even thousands of people. There was news that Donald Trump was moving to Parler. Now, this really set me off when I heard that Donald Trump was moving to Parler. Now, my first idea and the first thought I had when Trump was being deplatformed is, don't you realize you're making the situation worse? Because Trump is just going to move to another social media platform, and only his most hardcore of followers are going to download this app, and it's just going to become an echo chamber. However, it turned out it was just a scam, and some guy essentially pretended to be Donald Trump on Parler. An account claiming to represent Donald Trump appeared on the so-called free speech social media platform Parler on Thursday after the president was blocked temporarily. The unverified POTUS45 account was set up around 3 a.m. Eastern time and it gained 15,000 followers. And they also solicited $20 donations. So somebody essentially scammed a bunch of MAGA supporters into money. They got finessed. Now look, the next part of this conversation is, how would a ban like this take place? And what exactly are these social media companies thinking? Now, by deplatforming Donald Trump or blocking his content, they think that they are putting out a fire or stopping a snowball from building out of control. However, when it comes to deplatforming, it only gets worse. And we can look at situations that are similar. Earlier, 2018, InfoWars, which to many is described as a radical news site. Don't argue with me in the comments below. I don't know too much about InfoWars. It's described as a radical news site, was completely deplatformed, took it off of Apple, YouTube. And let's look at how they're doing. InfoWars' app surges in popularity after tech platforms move against Alex Jones. Now, there's not a whole lot of data on how this specific news company, right-wing news company that was deplatformed, there's not a lot of articles on their success after the deplatformation. I just know that they're still successful, and this particular person is still in the limelight. And there is a website that appears to show them getting 10 million total visits, or millions of traffic per month. So 10 million visits, it says, in December 2020 alone. I don't know how reliable this website may be. However, it is interesting to see that they're still alive and kicking after being deplatformed. However, some people have another take. Brandy says, just here to say deplatforming works. And some people are responding saying, no, I only half support it as a desperate measure against a lunatic who endangered democracy. Just as a rule, it remains a bad issue. We have some influencers. We got to hear from the influencers. My concern is that this gives big tech the opportunity to shut down leftist extremists who are important political organizers. But what exactly does this all mean? Now, normally I'd like to give you my analytical take and talk to you about how a ban like this would actually go down in the backside, in the algorithms, from the top to the bottom. However, this seems to be a special case. So normally when somebody is banned or there's a keyword that's designated as spam, Twitter and other companies have AI that will go in and it will sense words. So let's just take a random word. Let's say that Twitter determines the word MAGA to be hateful or hate speech. What happens is when someone types MAGA or they create MAGA related content, the AI will take that content and mark it as spam in the background, meaning it will limit its reach because the platform believes this content to be tainted in a way, aka not suitable for advertisers. And that's what they could do. Now, this seems to be an individual case where there's a round table of people that are sitting around deciding this. And my only call is for transparency, because Trump isn't the only, and I'm going to use this word loosely, person who incites violence around the world. Twitter is a global company. Facebook, Instagram, they're all global. Every single time a dictatorship happens in a country, every single time a riot happens from a leader, every single time somebody's overthrown, is Twitter going to throttle the engagement of the leader that's inciting violence? Is there a new team of people that are going to go over one through one and choose who's inciting violence? What's the line? What are the guidelines they choose? And unfortunately, what I think is going to happen is it's going to end up hurting more than it does good. Here's why. From the outside looking in, people are cheering on and they're saying, big tech, we did it, we did it, we did it, we did it. Yes. But they don't understand that this doesn't only affect Trump. Let me give you a real world scenario. When a ban like this happens, selectively, they select to ban Trump. They have people doing it, and it's easy for people to do it because they only need to monitor one person. But then they make another decision. Content that is specifically addressing the election and stating that the election was rigged will be shadow banned or deleted on social media. And that could be across YouTube, Twitter, wherever it may be. And you may be thinking to yourself, of course, all of that content should be gone. Hear me out. So then on the second tier, YouTube, Twitter, their AI, their algorithm, their platform, whoever it is sensing and looking for content that is stating that the election is rigged and then deleting that content. And it could be people reporting content as political misabuse. Who knows how they do it? But on that second term, there's more and more people being censored. Now, on that third term, and this is the third part that affects most people, Twitter, Facebook will censor people who say the words rigged or who will speak about Trump. And you may have noticed this yourself. I have a friend, maybe I could post it here. She simply posted a video today on her stories saying something like F Trump, or she was saying something and her Instagram story was taken down. And this is what affects people. And you yourself may use the words rigged in a social media caption, and then you'll start to notice that your content starts to perform poorly, and it's because it's being marked as spam. This is what can affect the mass of people, and this is my issue. Now, starting over, if Twitter were to clearly say, if you use these words and say these things and do X, X, and X, this is what will happen, regardless if you're Donald Trump or Joe Schmo with 2 followers, and these are the rules, you have to follow them, no one is going to disagree with that. We could disagree about it and be angry about it, but we cannot disagree about the fact that, you know, the consequences are obvious because you've stated them. I'm not going to argue that portion of it. I'll argue the merits of it, but I won't argue the actual banning portion of it because you've clearly stated it. And it even helps me as a creator, even making a YouTube video like this, where I have to walk on eggshells and dance around certain words. This may, however, just be a one-off cost. You let me know in the comments below. Do you think that this is a one-off occasion, or do you think that this will be the new standard for censoring? There's a lot to discuss in this video. Hopefully I didn't interject my opinion too much because I didn't want to get political. I just wanted to talk specifically about social media censorship. Now, with that being said, I want to thank everybody who's been watching these new videos. We're going to cover social media censorship here every day. I'm going to grow stronger as a creator when I'm learning more about laws and regulations. I'm going to try to not interject politics. We're going to cover influencers. We're going to cover everyone. I understand both sides. Trust me, if you get down in the comments below and you say that Trump is the worst and he should just be deplatformed, I understand where you're coming from. If you also come here and you say Donald Trump censoring them, it's a beacon of freedom of speech, I also understand where you're coming from. And I welcome all comments underneath below. Hopefully you guys stick around, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. And hopefully this wasn't too long. See you guys soon. Peace.